welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Bella. If this is your first time seeing me, you're highly welcome. Please kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel, turn on the notification bell to get alerts whenever I upload a new video. Okay, so today we're going to be looking at this lovely Igbo blouse. Can you see how gorgeous it is? Okay, so the secret of this Igbo blouse will be revealed in this class if you keep on watching. And as you can see, this was hand placed. All these appliques you're saying, all these beautiful things you're saying here was hand placed with hand needle and thread. You can see there is no bust cut anywhere, but the blouse is a bustier blouse. Okay, so if you want to know the secret for this, keep on watching. Look at the back of the dress. Can you see of the blouse? Isn't it lovely? Okay guys, so I'll see you guys. Let's get started. Today we'll be making Igbo blouse with George. Yes, George fabric. We'll be working with George today. So to get started, it's an off-shoulder Igbo blouse. Okay, there will be skirt. The inner will be skirt, and there will be a wrapper on top of the skirt. So the skirt is a pencil skirt. I have a video on pencil skirt drafting. It's a very simple tutorial. I'll put the link below in my description box. Okay, and we'll go straight to cutting of the Igbo blouse, the off-shoulder Igbo blouse. So today we'll be working with George fabric. Okay, you can see my fabric is lovely. You can see the stones, and this is the blouse of the fabric. It comes in 3 parts. So this one comes with a blouse and then 2 wrappers. These are the 2 wrappers. This is the first one and this is the second one. So we use one for the skirt and one for the wrapper. Okay, so this skirt and wrapper is not our main concern today, because I already have a video on pencil skirt, so we'll keep this aside. Okay, so we're working with this today. So this lace, you can see, or this George, so you can see that it has its own pattern on it, and then it also has a 2 net, so away from the pattern. Okay, so the style we are making, I'll leave the picture on your screen. It's an off shoulder, okay, with a pleated sleeve. So we'll be needing a bridal satin. You already know doll face bridal satin. I use this mostly because it's easier to work with. You can use raw silk if you can afford it. Okay, so I use this as both the inner lining and also as the lining. Okay, so please don't use taffeta for your George blouses. It makes your work look so dull and not so rich. Okay, but this gives it the cream, la poche look. Okay, let's get started. I'll be using my pencil, then I'll outline with my marker pen and my set of rulers, measuring tape, of course your fabric scissors, and of course my paper scissors. Okay, so guys, to get started, you'll be needing the following measurements. You will need your shoulder measurements, you'll be needing your bust, your under bust, you'll be needing shoulder to under bust, shoulder to nipple, nipple to nipple, waist measurements, your shoulder to waist, and your upper hip measurement, because you know that Igbo blouses, they stop at the upper hip, you know, to give it that balanced look. Okay, your measurement, you have to get your upper hip measurements. All right, so let's get started. So guys, I've gone ahead to mark my starting line. Okay, so this is my starting line here, and off shoulder you have to subtract either 4 inches, 5, 6, depending on how off you want the blouse or the dress to be. Okay, so in this for this illustration, I'm going to be offing 4 inches. Okay, so all my vertical measurements, they are going to be starting from 4 inches. Here, this is my starting line. There is no measurement to your starting line. You can equally start at the tip of your paper, but I just use this as a guide. So my 4 inches, this 4 inches here, I will place it here to take all my vertical measurements. Okay, so from 4 inches I'll come down to her chest line, to my chest line, which is 8. Okay, then I'll go down to my shoulder to under bust, which is 13 here. The next is shoulder to my shoulder to nipple, which is 9.5 here, but I'll add ½ inch to it to make it 10. Okay, so this is my shoulder to under bust, my shoulder to waist, 17. Then the blouse length, I'm using 24 inches. Okay, plus sewing allowance, 1 inch sewing allowance, that's 25. Alright, so I'll go now to mark out this line horizontally, and I'll be right back. So guys, I've gone ahead to rule them out. Okay, so this is my chest line, my nipple point line, my under bust line, this is my waist line, and the blouse length. Okay, so the next thing to do is to get our nipple to nipple measurement. That's the bust span divided by 2 plus ½ inches sewing allowance. Okay, so we'll put that at the under bust. So her nipple to nipple measurement is 7. Her nipple to nipple measurement is 7 inches. That is 3.5 plus ½ inch sewing allowance. That will be 4 inches. Okay, so I'll place that at my nipple point here, 4 inches. Okay, so at the under bust, I'll still place the same thing, 4 inches. At the waistline, I'll still place the same thing, 4 inches. But at the hemline, now this is the trickish part. Igbo blouses, they are meant to sit on the hip. It has this flare look, balanced, like an A shape at the bottom. Okay, so this that line, they are not going to go straight, like just straight. Okay, you're going to be adding either 1 inch or 1.5 inches, depends on how you want it to flay out. Okay, so I will be adding 1.5 inches to this my measurement, to this my 4 inches measurement. That will give me 5.5 inches. So I'll put it here at the blouse length. Okay, so let me recap. My nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2 will give me 3.5. Okay, plus ½ inches, that is 4. The 4 inches here at the nipple point, 4 inches here under bust point, 4 inches here at the waistline, but I added 1.5 inches to the 4 inches measurement at the hemline. Okay, that will give it a balanced look. That's the trickish part of Igbo blouse. Okay, so at this upper part, the shoulder line, okay, remember this 4 inches at the nipple point, so I'll be adding extra 1 inch to it. I don't like all those choky busts here that will just come together in the at the chest or upper part. I don't like them. So if this will give it a look as if it's a princess that. Okay, so I'm adding 1 inch to the measurement. That will give me 5 inches here. This is my 5 inches. So at the nipple point, I'm going to be coming up by 1/4 inch for up and down. This is my nipple point here. So this 1/4 inch is where the dart line from the up part is going to stop, and the dart line from the under bust is going to stop. Okay, so this is 1/4 inch below and 1/4 inch above. Okay, this 1/4 inch below and 1/4 inch above. So I'll connect my dart legs now. This 5 inches, I'll connect it to my 1/4 inch above the bust point, like so. Okay, then I'll connect the under bust, the waistline with a straight line. I'll also connect the waistline to the hem point with another straight line, but you know it's going to flare out. Okay, so from the under bust, I'll connect to my 1/4 inch below the nipple point. So this is what we have. Okay, so now to take in our darts, I'm going to take darts of 1 inch on both sides at the upper part. You can decide to take 1.5 inch. You know, 1 inch on both sides is 2 inches. You can decide to take 0.75, or you can decide to take 1/2 inch on this side, and then 1 inch on this side. Okay, any one that works for you, but I like taking 1 inch. So 1 inch here and another 1 inch here. That's altogether 2 inches at the upper part. So at the under bust part, I like taking 2.5 inches for a slim person and 3 inches for a plus size. I regard plus size from bust 40 upwards. Alright, so I'm taking 2.5 inches here. That means I'm going to take 1 inch for the center front side and 1.5 inches for the side front. Okay, so 1 inch for the center front and 1.5 inches for the side front. That will give me 2.5 inches. So another trick there is that if she has tummy, if the person you're working for has a big tummy, okay, you can deduct 1/2 inch from this 1 inch here. You just take 1/2 inch here and 1/2 inch here, or 1/2 inch here and 1 inch here. But since she doesn't have tummy, I'll just bring down this 1 inch here as a straight 1 inch here. Then I'll use 1 inch again for this side. Okay, please don't mind my voice, I have catarrh. Okay, so I'll connect my dart legs here and this one here. Okay, then I'll bring this part and this part. Alright, so for the hem, at the hem you come up by 2 inches. Come up by 2 inches at the hem, please. This hem here, you come up by 2 inches. So you are going to connect these two darts to these 2 inches here at the hem. Your dart is not supposed to extend to the hem of the dress. So this is it. So we are going to contour all these parts so that it won't be pointy. Remember, we don't like pointy stuffs. Okay, so you curve it out. So for this part, I'm going to connect my my underbust to the nipple point. This, check the placement of my ruler. Okay, so of my curve ruler. So I'm connecting this upper part like so. As you can see, our cup is already coming out, and I'll connect this upper part too, like so. Okay, so as you can see, we have a nice curve. So you join them together. You can see we have a nice curve here. All right, I know you'll be wondering why this is kind of like this, but believe you me, by the time you finish sewing it, it's going to balance out. Okay, so let's move to the side to complete our measurements. So for the neckline, I'll be using 5 inches. So we have 4 inches here, and we have, okay, so this is 5 inches here, but you'll be adding sewing allowance, so I'll use 1 inch for my sewing allowance, and I'll be left with 6 inches. So remember, you use 6 inches for here as a whole. So when you're cutting for your back, remember to use that same 6 inches. Okay, so for the bust, my bust is in 34.5, that is 8.75. okay, so this is 4 inches here. I'll shift my tape rule here, that is 8.75 here. I like adding enough allowance for my blouses, so I'll use 3 inches here. Okay, so at the waistline, her waist is 31, that is 7.75. So this is 3 inches here. I will shift it like this and mark my 7.75 here, plus 3 inches sewing allowance. Okay, so for the upper hip, her hip is 39, but since I didn't get the measurement for the upper hip, we can deduct 1 inch from the main hip. So her main hip is 39, so I'll just use 38 for the upper hip, and which will give me 9.5. So I'll just place my 9.5 here, plus 3 inches allowance, the main allowance here. But as you know, since we added a flare or a shape look for the front panel, for the center panel, we are still going to add that look. We are still going to add that look for the side panel. Okay, so I will add 2 inches for the side panel. Sorry, here we added 1.5, so we are still going to maintain that 1.5 here. Okay, so we'll connect. Please give a slant curve. Use slant curve for the armhole so that it won't be inside too much. Okay, so I'll use a slant curve for my armhole like so, then I'll connect the rest. Okay, this is it. You know, this is a blouse, so it's kind of needs this hip part. Okay, so So guys, this is our pattern, as you can see. So for the neckline, you can decide to do any type of neckline. You can decide to make it a U neckline. You can decide to make it sweetheart neckline. You can decide to leave it straight. It all depends on what you want. But as for me, I'm going to make it a little bit of sweetheart neckline, just a little bit, not too much, okay? A little bit sweetheart neckline, not too deep, okay? So this is it for the front. Oh, Igbo blouse is not Igbo blouse without a curve at the hem. So for this hem, I'm going to come up by 2 inches. You can either do 2 inches or 1.5, okay? So I'm going to come down by 2 inches. So whatever you do for if you took out 2 inches here, please replace 2 inches at the center front here. This is the side. So I went up by 2 inches. You have to come down by 2 inches for the hem. So this is it also. 2 inches here. It's for it to balance up. So you connect. So it will give it that look, that curvy look at the hem part. But you know, wrapper will be tied on it. So if you like, you can leave it like this. If you like, you can curve it. You can use 1 inch, you can use 1.5, you can use 2 inches, okay? So let's cut out. But before we cut out, let's do the back. So I'm going to rule a straight line for the back. So this will serve as my zipper allowance for the back. Okay? Zip. So for the back, remember here we took out 6 inches. So we're also going to be using 6 inches also here. Alright? So we impute our bust measurement, which is 8.75. This is 8.75 with 3 inches allowance. So for our waist, we impute 7.75. That is 31. 7.75 with 3 inches allowance here, like so. For our hem, you have to measure what you have at the hem here. So let's see, I have 14 inches at the hem for the front, so I'll also use 14 inches here at the hem. Okay, so we'll connect. But first of all, let's put our dart. So at the waistline, my 4 inches plus this is my 4 inches. Okay, so I'll open it up with 1/2 inch on both sides. This is 5.5 inches here. Remember, for the front we use 5.5 inches for the hem, so we're still going to repeat the same. So for the back, we're using princess dart, armhole princess dart. Okay, so let me curve this armhole to make it easier for us. I like using it. It gives it a perfect fitting. Okay, so let me connect this. So at the nipple point we have 4 inches here. This is for the nipple point, 4 inches also, and I'll connect it with a straight line to the waist. Okay, so we have the same thing that we have for the front, we have it for the back. Then we'll just connect. Since it's 4 inches already, we deducted 4 inches for our off shoulder. I'm going to just put my princess dart somewhere around 6 inches. So you just give it a slight curve. Okay, just a slight curve. Remember, this is the back. There is no nipple line. Okay, all right. And remember, you extend your dart. Because we open it up by 1 inch at the waist, so you extend it at the armhole. If you don't do this, your armhole will be short after sewing. Okay, so this is it. So connect our point. Remember, here we took out 1 inch, so we're going to replace it here, 1 inch here. Okay, for our back tightening, we are supposed to remove ½ inch from the waist. Okay, so I'll do that. Please forget this line, it's a mistake, and I can't find my eraser. So ½ inch here. So I'll take it up, all the way up, ½ inch. Okay, then I'll still connect it back to this place, to the hem. You can take 0.5 inches if you want. You can take 1 inch if you want. Okay, so I'll add back the ½ inch at the side. That's rule of that. Anything you take out, you replace. Okay, so we are coming up by ½ inch for the hemline. From the hemline, we're coming up by 2 inches. Sorry. So we're coming up by 2 inches from the hemline to connect our dart legs. So these are our darts for the back, and we'll complete the measurements like so, and use your hip curve to connect the rest. Then remember, we went up by 2 inches for the front, so we're going to still do the same so that it can rhyme together. Okay, so all right, so for the back, I'll be going down also, because I wouldn't like it to be this straight. So I'll be going down at what we did for the front, just slantly. Repeat it for the back. All right, so here is our pattern for the front. This for the front, this for the front, and this for the back. Okay, so I used princess darts for the back, and I used normal bustier for the front. Okay, so the trick there is adding flares to it so that it will sit well on the hip. That's the trick to this Igbo blouse. So I'll go ahead now to cut my pattern out, and we'll also cut the fabric. So guys, this is our pattern, and you can see the effect the curve gave it. Okay, I turned this so that it will rhyme with the two sides. Okay, so this is the front and this is the back. So let me return it. I just want to show us the hem. So this is it. Okay, so these are the pattern after cutting them out. So I'll go now to cut my doll face bridal satin. I'm cutting one as the main fabric, then I'm cutting as lining too. I'll be using my doll face as lining too. Then I'll cut my hairstay as an interface for both front and back, and I will be also cutting these two parts with my pattern too, for both front and back, because I wouldn't want to sew only doll face bridal satin. It won't look rich at all. Please don't try that. This two here is here for a reason. Use it. Okay, so after all the whole sewing, we'll now start designing with this part. Okay, so but first, before you sew, cut out your pattern too, as this, with this rather, so that it will have that rich look. It won't just be plain bridal satin. Use this to place on it, as if you're sewing for kiddies wear. Remember, I told us in our kiddies class, don't sew bridal satin just it, you have to place a net on it. So it's the same method. Okay, place a net on your bridal satin. So I'll go now to cut everything out, and I will show us. I'll iron my interfacing on my main fabric, and I'll hi guys, so this is our patterns. I've cut them out on the fabric, the doll face bridal satin. I've put stay, and I've pinned the net to them. You can see the net came with stones. Okay, so it's now time to sew. So I'm going to go ahead now to couple this these are cutouts, these are patterns together. You couple it the way you couple any other bustier, any other padded. You attach this to this, you know, and couple it with your knit finishing. This is the back part. Our main focus is on how to use this beautiful beadings that came with it to design it to make a proper Igbo blouse with George. This should be our main focus. So before we use this, we have to couple all this back together. Okay, so I'll go now to couple it, and after coupling it, I'll show us on how to use this to design your blouse to make it look rich and classy. Hi guys, so this is our blouse without the hand. I've not attached the hand. I'm sorry, I didn't remember to start this video earlier before placing this on it, but all I did was just to bring the design. This is the design, so I just brought it, placed it on my body form, and used pins. If you can see the pins, so everything here now is hand needle. You use hand needle to do all this neatly. Okay, so you neatly trace the neckline, you trace the body. You can see that I traced all the nets out. I haven't done this side. You can see it. Let me lower this. Okay, I haven't done this side, this net, so I'm going to use this side to teach us what to do. So I'm going to trim off all this net. Just it will remain a little, so that when you're hand stitching it, you have to push it inside for neat finish, so that the edge will be looking neat. Okay, So at the bust area, you can see that there is a dart forming here. Let me remove the pin. There is a dart here. This place is not allowing this under bust to be flat. So what you have to do is to cut it open and place it on each other. I've done this side, so I'll show us. So you see this side. If you're seeing it like this, you know it's cut open. But when I remove all this piece, you can see it's open. So when you cut it open, you just stretch it a bit, and this one will cover it up. All this place, you use hand needle to hand sew it, and everything will lay flat for you. Okay, so this is how to use George material to sew Igbo blouse. So after all this, now I'll hand sew all this even to the back. This is the back. So I'll hand sew all this to the back, and I'll attach my sleeve, and the blouse will be ready. So to trace out your net, you just trace it a little bit closer to the edge, but you'll be leaving some net, some mesh. This is the net I left, so that when I want to hand sew this, I'll turn the net inside and it will give a neat finish. Nobody will know once you do this very well, nobody will know the trick you use. Okay, sometimes some people just cut through all these things and sew it when they are sewing the main blouse, but it's not professional. The people that did this like this know that there is a way you can do it and it will still come out okay. So as you can see now, there is no cut on the bust. I've sewn the blouse itself with the bust, everything, the padding, the bust here, everything is already sewn. So all you need to do is just to place this, stretch it on your body form, and you hand sew. So this is my needle and thread. As you can see, this is my needle and thread. I used a matching thread. Okay, so I'm going to start from the neckline to hand sew all this. And when you're sewing, make sure your sewing is your stitches is not showing at the back, at the wrong side of the blouse. It will be neatly concealed inside. Okay, so I will keep hand sewing till I'm done with this, with all the bodies and all this cut out. Any place that is not relaxing, just cut it through and replace it, and it will relax. Okay, so that's that for using George. I'll see us next time, and I'll show us the finished look of the blouse when I'm done. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate. Please kindly subscribe to my channel if you've not subscribed. Give this video a thumbs up if it was helpful,